It's 8 p.m. in Japan. Welcome to Newsroom Tokyo. I'm Shobeku.
And I'm Aki Shibuya.
We start with the headlines.
The U.S. military says it'll restart mid-air refueling for the Osprey aircraft in Okinawa less than a month after a crash. South Korea is creating a military unit to remove North Korean leadership in the event of hostilities. Tokyo's Tsukiji Market has held the first fish auction of the year after plans to relocate the facility were delayed. The only full-time doctor who remained in the evacuation area after the Fukushima nuclear accident has died.
As Islamic extremism and Islamophobia continue to spread in the West, Asia is no longer immune to their impacts. How can Asia fight against vicious attempts to divide? And how can Asia maintain its historical harmony between its diverse religious communities? For the second part of our New Year's special interview series, I talked with one of the leading thinkers in Thailand and asked about his prospects for the year 2017.
There appears to be no end to waves of tragic incidents occurring in the Middle East.
This is the bombing.
The rise of Islamic extremism is adding to the turmoil. In Asia, too, terror threats from the Islamic State militant group have become a reality. Various religions coexist in Asia. What sort of path should people in this region take? We'll look at what developments we'll likely see in 2017 and bring you the opinion of a leading expert.
It's very dangerous, especially for policymakers. I think the whole international relations theory is in problem now. They really don't know how to figure it out because they have never looked at the role of religion in statecraft or the role of religion in international relations. Even the United Nations neglected it for a long time. So there's a real crisis, and we have to deal it both at the level of theory and practice.
It's day 2 of our special New Year interview series, Prospects for 2017. Yesterday, we looked at the problems of xenophobia and political populism.
Today, we'll focus on the issues of religious extremism and the spread of Islamophobia.
Dr. Imtiyaz Yusuf is the director of the Center for Buddhist-Muslim Understanding in the College of Religious Studies at Mahidol University. He himself is a Muslim who lectures at the university in Thailand, where Buddhism is the dominant religion. Hello, I'm Shobeku.
Nice to meet you. Good morning. Sawadee krap. Welcome.
Let's start focus on the spread of extremism in the Middle East and the West first. There were some extremist elements among the religion even in the past, but what is so different now?
As you said, extremism was always there, and it has been there in the background since the rise of the modern nation state. And after that, since 9/11, we get this becoming what I call it as religious nationalism. It transmutes or transforms into religious nationalism. And religious nationalism now takes the form of a global license. So you see it happening in India, in Sri Lanka, and even in our neighborhood, in Malaysia, in Indonesia. So with Trump coming to power on the same agenda of making America white, America Christian, is a global license now. So it is extending or coming to a global stage.
Well, you mentioned the Trump factor, but even before the success of President-elect in the elections, there was the spread of extremism, particularly in Europe, for example. What was behind this then?
Of course, you see, it's the wars in the Middle East. And I think, in my view, the West and the Middle East have been engaged historically for a long time, theologically for a long time, economically for a long time. And the wars which have been taking place in the Middle East, since the famous statement of line in the sand, you know, between the rich capitalist countries and the Republican countries is what is all behind all that. And those wars, of course, beginning with the first Iraq War, the second Iraq War, and then coming further down until now, you find that people have to migrate. People who were having comfortable life have suddenly been pushed out. They have no future.
But how can we understand the spread of Islamophobia in the West, a place that has been traditionally, or even now, very proud of their diversity or their respect for human rights?
The West has always been mono-racial, mono-race, monoculture, and mono-religious or mono-secular. And it has hard time to accept diversity. People of another race, of other race. We know what happened to the Jews in the West, in U.S. We know what happened to the African Americans in the West, and now is the turn of the Arabs from the Middle East. I think the ideas of human rights came, especially as I'm an academic. I see it from the archaeology of human rights. Human rights document comes into the United Nations only after Hitler's massacre of 7 million Jews. So yes, these are documents, these are mechanisms, but I have never seen anybody being accused of abusing of human rights so far in the West until all these issues of migration and refugees coming into Europe. So all these documents are there, and West wants other countries like Thailand to implement it, other India to implement it, but they have never faced practical issues of human rights and even ecology for that matter. They're imposing it on other countries to do that.
People in Asia are not free from the problem of Islamophobia either. I saw signs of it in Bangkok, the capital of Thailand, a predominantly Buddhist country. Islam is a widely practiced religion in Southeast Asia, and Thailand is no exception. Although predominantly Buddhist, about 10% of the people here are Muslim. At this district in the capital, Bangkok, a mosque and a Buddhist temple stand side by side. The Land of Smiles takes pride in the historical harmony among its religions.
The basis of all religion is that people are fundamentally benevolent. We can exist together.
Much of the teaching of the two religions is looking in the same direction, and so I believe we can be brothers and sisters.
But the Thai government is on a state of high alert as it faces threats of extremism. Radical Muslims calling for independence have been active in the south. This patrol covers the main tourist areas in Bangkok. The police have also been boosting security in other areas around the capital to prevent attacks by Muslim extremist groups. They smell all the tires, or what do they focus on particularly?
The dogs are looking for explosives. If they find them, they'll sit down and stay put. We work to detect and deal with suspicious objects in order to ensure the safety of tourists.
But radicalism isn't limited by religion. This Buddhist monk doesn't hesitate to call for revenge for attacks by Muslim extremists. He showed me what he says is proof that Buddhist monks are being killed in the south by Muslim insurgents. He says 19 monks were killed between 2004 and 2015. Authorities ordered him to shut down his Facebook page. He had sent out a message calling for a mosque to be burnt down each time a Buddhist monk was killed.
ก็คือตอนที่พระรูปสุดท้ายที่ถูกฆ่าเสียชีวิตที่สายบุรีจังหวัดปัตตานีซึ่งเป็นพระอยู่บ้านเดียวกันกับอาตมาเป็นคนบ้านเดียวกันมันทำให้เกิดความอัดอั้นตันใจก็เลยออกมาเขียนบทความตอบโต้มุสลิมโหดรุนแรง
It happens that if revenge happens after revenge, don't you think that will endanger the peace of Thailand?
อย่างน้อยมันก็กวาดล้างโจรได้กวาดล้างโจรกลุ่มนี้คืออย่าลืมว่าในคนอิสลามซึ่งมีอยู่5 ล้านคนในประเทศไทยถามว่าเรามีวิธีอื่นไหมในการจัดการโจรพวกนี้ถ้าวิธีอื่นคุณทำมาแล้วกี่ปีและผลเป็นยังไง
This is a historical Muslim area in Bangkok. Almost half of the residents are Muslim. On Fridays, they gather at the mosque to pray together. Assalamu alaikum. The leader of the mosque, naturally, is concerned about negative views voiced by some radical Buddhists.
คือตรงนี้นะครับผมต้องเรียนว่าในความเป็นจริงแล้วเนี่ยนะครับผู้ก่อความไม่ประสงค์ดีเนี่ยเขาพยายามทุกรูปแบบนะครับที่จะทำนะครับแล้วก็เป็นหน้าที่นะครับของพี่น้องมุสลิมอย่างผมและก็อย่างคนต่างจังหวัดเนี่ยเราจะต้องพยายามให้เห็นภาพของความสันติสุขนะครับซึ่งเราจะต้องขอปฏิเสธนะครับในการกระทำนะครับในสิ่งที่ไม่ใช่หลักการของอิสลาม
Some fear that the tensions between the two religious communities might rise to a higher level. Others say that the concern should not be exaggerated, especially in Bangkok. What is certain is that Thailand cannot remain isolated from the impact of extremism and Islamophobia that's growing in other parts of the region and beyond. How about us? How about Asia? We are not immune from these problems of extremism or phobia. What are our problems here?
Asia is facing what I call Islamophobia from the back door. Why do I say that? I live in Thailand. I live in Southeast Asia. There's great peace. When I see the culture of a Thai Buddhist and a Thai Muslim is culturally the same, except for their language is the same. Their behaviors, social patterns are the same, except for their religions. So that has not been there. But because of that, they have not engaged with each other. And now suddenly you have these influences coming because of course, you said right, because of we are no more immune. So there are these fillers coming in. And the other factor is that in Southeast Asia or in Asia, religions have been ethnicized. What do I mean by that? It's very unfortunate. The three religions, Christianity, Islam, and Buddhism, are world religions. They talk about humanity, yes. But if you come to Southeast Asia, Islam is identified with the Malay race, with Malay ethnicity. Buddhism is identified with Siamese ethnicity. Religion has become a factor which can mobilize people on the street very easily, because many of the people, the elites, the social elites, the political elites, they are kind of handing over management of religion to the clerics, and the clerics are not statesmen. That's what I'm trying to say. Clerics are not statesmen, so they only think of their own particular group.
How come in a place that has been proud of harmony or coexistence, it suddenly now seems to be facing attention?
If you come to Myanmar, again, Buddhism is exploited by the Burmans against all minorities. Burma is a hard country, I call it. It has a perennial problem with ethnicities. And the Rohingya factor is there. They have been living there, but they are denied citizenship. And I don't think they will ever get their citizenship right.
One of the most pressing issues in Southeast Asia is the persecution of Rohingya Muslims in Myanmar's western Rakhine state. The Rohingya are a minority group in the predominantly Buddhist country.
International criticism has been growing over the country's mistreatment of Rohingyas. The Myanmar government continues to deny reports of abuse, but on Saturday, a video appeared on the internet showing police beating and kicking a group of Rohingyas. The Myanmar government confirmed that the footage was recorded in November and has launched an investigation. NHK Yangon Bureau Chief Daisuke Iijima has more about what's going on in the country.
The latest round of violence started in October when a Rohingya insurgent group launched a series of armed attacks. The national government says 17 soldiers have been killed, while the military group has lost 69 fighters. Rohingya activists blame the killing of many civilians on a military operation launched by government forces. More than 20,000 people have fled to neighboring Bangladesh. The conflict has also spread over the border.
We somehow managed to escape alive.
An international think tank says that leaders of Rohingya insurgent group have links to Saudi Arabia and Pakistan. The think tank says the group is using explosives in surprise nighttime attacks that are well planned.
tamam arakani rohingya kol funilo niliyay dugoy jihadallah niliyay dugoy jihadallah niliyay dugoy.
The insurgent organization was apparently formed in 2012. In that year, clashes between Muslims and Buddhists in Rakhine State left more than 80 people dead. Myanmar considers the Rohingya Muslims illegal immigrants from Bangladesh. They are denied the right to a nationality or citizenship. Since 2012, many of them have been forced to live in camps. Anger over the ruling powers, oppression and discrimination has lent strength to the militant group.
We can't go to work. We've become refugees. Our homes and property were all burned. We have nothing left.
Myanmar's de facto leader, Aung San Suu Kyi, has appointed former UN Secretary General Kofi Annan to head a committee to look into ways to end the bloodshed. Annan arrived in Myanmar after the latest violence. He held several rounds of meetings with Buddhists and Rohingya Muslims. They begged him to help find a solution.
We told Annan that granting the Rohingya the right to citizenship is important.
Annan made an unexpected visit while he was in Rakhine State. He went to Miao, which used to be the capital of the historic kingdom of Arakan. Arakan was founded over 5 centuries ago and prospered as a maritime kingdom. It was a Buddhist kingdom, but Muslims were offered protection, as were Portuguese merchants and mercenaries. Annan hopes to reinvigorate the area's diverse multicultural tradition, which was a pillar of its prosperity. The Khmer Muslims of today are the descendants of Muslim mercenaries in the former kingdom. Unlike the Rohingyas, they are officially recognized as an ethnic minority and are granted the rights to citizenship. The Khmer Muslims can be seen as a living proof of the history of reconciliation, but they are also facing hardships. After riots 4 years ago, the government stopped sending teachers to their schools. The recent Rohingya insurgency is also having repercussions.
The government began restricting freedom of movement. We are very concerned about our children's education and their future.
Clashes between Muslims and Buddhists are worsening in Myanmar as some extremists attempt to add fuel to the flames. The Islamic State militant group declared jihad or holy war in Myanmar. The group posted an interview on the internet with an extremist leader in neighboring Bangladesh. Abzal Bhumi is a Rohingya leader with an extremist group. He is believed to be hiding in Afghanistan. He blamed the government of Aung San Suu Kyi for the series of attacks. He is reportedly stirring up hatred between the Rohingyas and Buddhists.
हालांकि ओनारा भी कोना होय फारोके या तकरीबन 2 माह गुजर गई कि बर्मा में से आंग सांग सूची जमहूरी हुकूमत आएगी और जुल्मीन आंग सांग सूची जमहूरी जमाना मौजूद.
Last month, Aung San Suu Kyi called for an urgent meeting of ASEAN foreign ministers in Yangon. With anger mounting among Muslims in ASEAN nations, she apparently wanted to avoid a rift. Myanmar agreed to accept humanitarian aid from ASEAN countries, but continues to refuse NGOs and media free access. This has led to dispel allegations that the country is still cracking down on Rohingya Muslims. Islamic extremists have always said that its jihad is a battle against Christian crusaders, but now Asian nations are on the brink of a fresh war, this time one that pits Islamic extremists against Buddhists. Daisuke Ijima, NHK World, Rakhine State, Myanmar.
So what's needed for the different religions to be able to coexist amid the growing antagonism? We hear again from Dr. Imtiyaz Yusuf. How do you foresee the situation in the new year 2017? Do you think that the problem of extremism and also the problem of Islamophobia could grow, could spread?
Unfortunately, in my view, it will grow. And it will grow and it will disturb peace. People will talk about peace, people will talk about dialogue, but these are what I call just, not profound peace, not profound dialogue. Because people in modern life live very, very destructive life. And they are looking for peace, but they don't know where it is. So I see that there'll be more problems coming. It's a real challenge.
But do you feel any hope at the same time? How about the younger generation? And in this context, what is the role that education can or should play?
I have a hope, and because I teach young people, the younger generation is well informed, but it doesn't have knowledge. I tell my students, information is not knowledge. So if we combine information and teach our students, our younger generation, and even the older generation, that there's a difference, or combining, there's a need to interlock information and knowledge, we can overcome this challenge or the threat of extremism. And many countries are doing it, but they're doing it only for those once people are radicalized. But how do you preempt radicalization? And that's the challenge.
During my coverage of this issue of religious tensions in Bangkok, many people told me that, well, look, in Asia, the situation differs from the West, and that Asia will maintain its harmony. Naturally, everyone hopes so. And that is why the year 2017 will be crucial to prevent this problem from spreading further. For this, as Dr. Imtiyaz has pointed out, the role of political leaders is important. Each of us should be aware of the danger as well. With that, we wrap up our 2-day special interview series for the new year.